Well, thank you, Cameron, for joining me today for this webinar. Because we're going to talk all about AI, which I think has been a super hot topic of conversation in the last couple of years, especially, but even I feel like more so in the last couple of months. And I know you're working on something super exciting for AI, for authors in particular. So I can't wait to dive into that and really show authors what's possible for their book promotion with AI. So do you want to just give a brief introduction to who you are and a little bit more about your work with Book Blaster and AI?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Erin, for having me. I was not looking for AI, so let's start there. I'm not somebody who studied AI in college and built my life around this. This was something that accidentally came on our radar, and the way it happened is we had a marketing agency, and we were primarily focused on working with chefs and restaurants. And do you ever watch Top Chef? Remind me.
I have seen a few episodes, but I wouldn't say I'm an avid watcher.
Fair enough, fair enough. So actually, I didn't watch the show too much either, but one of our clients in the Twin Cities was a chef that was going to be on season 16 of the show. So before he did, he hired us to take on his personal social media and the digital marketing for all of his restaurants, which turned out to be a lot of them. And then he kept opening more during that time. So that was really fun. But then fast forward, the pandemic hit and shut all of these restaurants down, all of these live events. So we had built a marketing agency, built the chops, as they say, and the skills to put butts in the seats. But now there were no seats, and all the butts were at home.
Yeah.
So we pivoted our agency to start working with authors because, as you know, Erin, a lot of people sat down during the pandemic to either get serious about writing their book or to get serious about promoting their book that they maybe have published a little bit ago.
Yeah.
So we pivoted our agency and we created what we call the bottomless book sales method. So we realized that a lot of authors just needed a simple framework for getting traffic to their book and then finding people what we call outside the friends and family bubble. So a lot of authors, as you know, they publish their book and then they're super proud of it. And then the first thing and kind of the last thing that they do is share and share and share with their friends and family, but that's not their target audience and it's not really generating a scalable system. So we created the bottomless book sales method to give authors and publishers a very simple framework to follow. Number one, you create an optimized landing page. This isn't the website where you put your Girl Scout cookies and your t-shirt line and all this other stuff. One page, one job, and that job is to sell your books. Number two, bringing targeted traffic to your landing page. If you write children's books, if you write romance novels, whoever your books are for, and I see you post about this on LinkedIn, and I always, smash that share button because it's so important. There are people out there who are interested in your book, no matter what it is about, but putting it in front of them on a scalable, targeted way is the second step of that strategy. So have a landing page that is dedicated to selling your book and to collecting email addresses for you. You bring targeted traffic to that landing page. And excuse me, lastly, you collect those email addresses and you put them into an automated email system. That can be as simple as, thanks for signing up, make sure you leave a review and buy the book, or more complicated, 3-step sequences, whatever it is that you want to do it. But the most important thing to understand is when you are running a ad campaign as a new author or as a veteran, you are buying two things. And let me take a step back. When you run an ad campaign on a site like Facebook or TikTok, pretty much anything besides Amazon itself, you are purchasing two things: eyeballs and information. So then the name of the game is, how can you purchase as many eyeballs and as much information as possible and as efficiently as possible. So ads work. I want to just get this out of the way too. Ads work, but it's about how efficiently they work. You can spend, $2 million to reach one reader, but that's not very efficient.
Yeah.
On the flip side, when you really have a dialed in ad strategy, we've seen on some of our most successful campaigns, we've gotten clicks for 17 cents a click. And if that's the case, then how much money are you willing to spend on ads? And my argument is as much as possible.
Yeah.
Long answer to your short questions.
Yeah, no, it's all that's great. So like thinking then about, landing pages, like ad copy, whether it's for Facebook or other sites, where does where does AI fall into those, like those two specific things? And how can authors be utilizing AI to help with those like two really crucial pieces?
Great question. So one of the most interesting things that I've found working with authors more than any other group of people, since writing is obviously a huge part of being an author, there is almost a level of shame, I would say, let's call it shame, where, I've written this entire book. I know what I'm talking about, but when I sit down to write words to make people want to buy it, whether it's, a 2-paragraph blurb or, a Facebook headline, I completely freeze up. Mm-hmm. And I'm supposed to be an author, I'm supposed to be the writer. Yeah. So, one, understanding that those are two different skill sets. Okay. Mm-hmm. Being an author, and unless your book is about copywriting, which is a whole other thing. Yeah. Your ability to write as an author has nothing to do with your ability to write as a copywriter. It's also, and I'll speak for myself too, even with the skills of a copywriting, which is very formulaic, right? Whether you're talking about problem, agitate, solution, ADA, whatever that stands for again, but these copywriters have frameworks on frameworks on frameworks, and it's not about writing a good ad, it's about building a good ad, right? You have these building blocks and you are formulaically putting the structure together. Now, with AI, where you might have had to hire an expert or, at least a third party, maybe it's more a junior level, copywriter, but sometimes just having a third party person write your marketing copy is just so much easier. Now, the quality of it, we'll debate that. We'll leave that for another day. But this is the opportunity for where AI can really give you access to senior level copywriting if you prompt it carefully, depending on what tool you're using. For example, a ChatGPT or a Claude. And I don't know if you had a chance, Erin, to play with the latest updates to ChatGPT, but they are super exciting. So
my partner has been using it quite a bit for various like different like work pieces and personal pieces. And then I've got some clients who have been using it in the last few weeks and they're just like loving it. So it's I've heard really good things.
So something, I haven't had a chance to test the latest ChatGPT's ability to work with your entire manuscript, but something that I've been fascinated with ever since, in particular, Claude introduced their 100,000 token limit is, okay, what can we do with either large sections of a manuscript or, in some cases, the entire manuscript of a book. And if we have that, so one of the questions I would get as a marketing agency sometimes from authors would be, have you read my book? And it's like, no, honey, I've not read your 300-page book about, where, like, no, it's not realistic. And it's not realistic to expect, a copywriter that you hire on Fiverr or Upwork or any of these sites to really dig into your manuscript the way that you can with AI. And so it's really cool to be able to upload, again, either your entire manuscript. Some people are a little bit wary of that, but you can even go chapter by chapter or section by section. And one of my favorite prompts is pull out tweetable quotes from this section. Pull out social quotes that will make good social media graphics. And then you can take it a step further and say, okay, given this manuscript, given the context of where we are in the year, you've got the holidays coming up, give me 10 ideas for email subject lines. I do this type of stuff all the time, and it's super fun to be able to contextualize and ground your responses that you're getting from these AI chatbots in your data, but you're in your manuscript. But you can also take it a step further. And for example, given your writing sample, okay, ChatGPT, you can do these on really any chatbot, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Given a writing sample, use that to establish your brand voice. And then, so you ask for linguistic, whatever. There are many ways to skin this cat. So it's not like it's has to be super formulaic. Get a sample of your writing, get a sample of your voice, and then use that to frame the rest of your marketing material. So make sure that emails are on brand, make sure that your Facebook ads are on brand, and then on top of that, because a lot of where authors can kind of miss the boat is you still have to use those frameworks that we all know work and from the marketing world. You still have to be able to have a strong hook, get people's attention, excuse me, drive that interest home, and then make sure that they have a strong call to action. What is available for creative interpretation is how you move me from each of these points, right? Those things are kind of non-negotiable if you want to have an effective campaign, but making sure that your entire marketing strategy is in your voice and your brand has never been easier. You can hire the best copywriter in the world, but if they don't really understand your book, your voice, and your brand, then it's still going to be a little bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, I love, like, in these last couple of minutes, how many ideas that you've thrown out there for authors to use, because I feel like a lot of authors still at this point don't really know how they can be using AI. And you're throwing out things like, oh, find tweetable quotes, like what quotes would be good for social media, give me some ideas for email subject lines. Like, there's like so many possibilities for authors with AI that can help. I was talking with a client today who's saying they're experiencing some analysis paralysis when it comes to just getting started with talking about their book on social media, on email. And that's something a lot of authors struggle with, is you sit down and it's like, okay, I know today should be the day, but I don't really have any ideas. I don't know, what I should be sharing. And so to be able to have a tool like some of these, AI chatbots to say, this could help eliminate some of this analysis paralysis and say, hey, give me, based on this chapter, give me some good email subject lines. Because sometimes it's just that subject line that can unlock the rest
100%.
of the content.
100%. And I also like to use ChatGPT as almost a sounding board. I could geek out about this all day. So like this, like when we really look at what we can do here, one of the things that authors really need in those beginning phases is advanced readers, right? How do you get feedback from a diverse set of eyes? So what if you could prompt GPT or Claude, whatever, Llama, to act as advanced readers? And so then what you can do is you can create what's called a swarm of really more agents as opposed to chatbots, but you can have essentially AI readers read through your entire manuscript within, okay, pretend you're a middle-aged, white guy from the Midwest. You can add additional context and really even develop what it is that they look for in a manuscript. So step one might be who are 10 target readers, build out those avatars, and then you literally use AI to create those avatars as a prompt, read through your entire manuscript and get feedback. So now you essentially have feedback from 10 different readers. You can do that to the moon. If you there's so many different ways to do it, but go ahead.
I know, just like, again, another idea that, an author who's feeling stuck or feels like they don't have the time or they don't have the resources to, go out and maybe check some of these boxes in their own kind of communities. again, another idea for them to be utilizing technology to take that next step forward and learn more about the, the marketing process, learn more about their book.
Yes, 100%. So I've got ChatGPT pulled up. I'm going to see if I can share my screen really quick and go through a couple examples.
Go for it.
Another thing that's very cool now about where AI is, if you pay for the premium ChatGPT, now it has the ability to connect with the internet. And one of the things that we are most focused on at Book Blaster is how do we contextualize all of your marketing materials as much as possible. Yeah. And if you remember before, the ChatGPT cutoff was 2021. Now it is up through April of 2023. So let's do a quick example and let's search for a book that might have come out this year. Let me see if I have one off the top of my head. Edricio de la Cruz's The Underdog founder. Let me see if it'll pull up. So as you can see, ChatGPT is currently using Bing search to perfect, and it found the website. All right, now we've got a book description, bang. So instead of having to prompt GPT about my book, or about, in this case, Edricio's book, I just asked a simple question: what is The Underdog founder about? Make sure that this description, and a lot of times what I found is these descriptions with the latest version of GPT-4 are better than what I would have prompted it with. So perfect. Yeah. Now we've got this, we've established this context. Who is the ideal reader? And what are 10 pain points that this book could solve? So I'm kind of hacking through this. I would probably break this up in a few more steps, but just so that you can see, perfect.
Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like this is such an untapped resource for authors, because, I mean, obviously we're doing this for a third-party book, but if your book has, come out in the last, year or so, or even if it's not out, you can feed still like description manuscripts. So like, look at all that's possible to come up with, to get, pull ideas from this. Because I think like a common misconception with AI is that, oh, these are, I need it to write something for me. Yeah, that is one of the uses. But I think what people are leaving on the table is AI's ability to just even give you ideas and just prompt you with things you can do, or like things you could learn from, from your description that you haven't thought of before. I know I have, I go through some different exercises with my clients, when it comes to messaging and, trying to discover pain points. And even going through one-on-one, I have authors who they've spent, a year plus writing this book, being like, oh, I actually never thought about it from that angle. I never thought about it that way. But you could do that with, one-on-one with a consultant, or you can use a resource like AI to help you come up with those same types of discoveries.
Absolutely. It is very different to, especially when you're at the end of writing a book, it's really, as you know, more editing than writing. And I'll just be honest, at that point, I just wanted it done. When you're that close to having your book done, it's almost like get me out of this forest. So to look at it with fresh eyes and within the context of marketing frameworks and strategies that work is very difficult for an author that's been through the gauntlet of, I've been through 2 years, like you said, 3 years of publishing this book. I just want it to sell. I know it's good. I know there's something in there that's good. So let's take a quick look at this. So from these, started with the summary of the book, went to the ideal reader, and then also added pain points with an emotional twist. And then we're using these 10 pain points to create hooks for our ideal audience. And then last, we turned these hooks into email subject lines. So now we've got 10 email subject lines. And then lastly, I want to show you, this is probably the coolest thing that is new. And what we're working really hard on at Book Blaster is complete marketing campaigns from start to finish. So having your landing page generated, having your ads not only written, but also deployed. So you don't have to go, like, one of the hardest parts about actually setting up ads is the setting up part. Coming up with the, writing ads is hard too. Creating the visual on ads is hard. But then, so much of it also falls apart with the actual structural setting up of ads. So something that you mentioned a moment ago is a lot of people have a limited understanding of what AI can do. And it's not just, write this corny blog post for me. Where we're going, if we want to understand the trajectory, is AI having the ability to actually act on your behalf. And so when we talk about agents, or you might have heard AGI being thrown around, artificial general intelligence. When we look at this, the idea here is that you can talk to a computer and it can basically just go act on your behalf. So here's my book, create a marketing strategy around it, and my budget's $5 a day. Go run some ads. And maybe 2 years from now, it's really closer than we think. You will be able to, your computer will be able to execute on your behalf.
Yeah.
Now, let's take this and so in a strong campaign, you will often see overlap in the copy and creative from one stage to another. So the ads match the landing page, match the emails. So there's a sense of cohesion. So we're taking the headlines, we're turning them into Facebook we're taking the subject lines, we're turning them into Facebook ad headlines. And then lastly, this is where we're going to do the magic. So we can actually generate, with DALL-E 3 integration, we can actually generate creatives to go with each of these headlines. And this is one of the areas where it's just a huge headache to try and go back and forth. I just hired a freelancer on Fiverr, and they weren't a bad designer, to be honest. But with the best designers, my description was pretty bad, my job description. But okay, so this is the first graphic that we just got. This might not be perfect, but honestly, it's really not bad. And I'd run this ad. But let's say you're super perfectionist and you want actual human designers to touch each of your ad creatives. You can then, I don't know how I would describe this to a graphic designer,
right? But
to be able to visually prompt the freelancers and contractors that you work with, huge advantage. So
exactly. This is awesome, because again, for someone who's watching this and seeing in the last 10 minutes what we've been able to come up with for this particular book example is what takes some authors days, if not weeks, to check off the to-do list. And so the fact that this could help get somebody even 50% of the way there in 10 minutes, that's huge. Because again, one of the number one things I hear from authors is, I don't have the time, especially in the nonfiction space where I do most of my work. Is I've got a full-time job, and the book is, I want it to help me, advance in my career, or it's just a passion project, but I work full time. I don't have the time to be promoting my book. But let's say, if this is taking us 10 minutes, if we continue down, the ChatGPT path with helping even say, hey, write a full email for me based on this subject line, that could just go in, do a little bit of editing, and you could have, a whole email campaign done in the matter of probably 20 minutes.
Exactly. Something that I think is important for us to stop and point out So I'm banging this out and breezing through this, and you're right, this has been a really productive 10 minutes. But I'm also taking, 10 years of marketing experience and saying, oh snap, like now I can, build a workflow around this. So I don't want anyone watching this to feel bad, like, oh, like, well, I still don't know like what to actually do.
Sure.
Like, this is cool. So that is really where we get to Book Blaster. We don't see what differentiates us. ChatGPT can do really, I would say 95% of what needs to be done right now to create a really robust marketing campaign.
Yeah.
The challenge is, one, not having to think of these strategies over and over again, or have to go through 10 years of marketing, experience to be able to just bang this out. So what if there was a tool, essentially a ChatGPT specifically for authors, specifically for publishers? And that's what we're building with Book Blaster. So you don't have to guess at, what are these prompts? You don't have to go through the experiences that I've had to get to this point. We built, and let me switch my screen share now. We built a tool that says, okay, most authors, most publishers write quality books. Let's start there. They put their passion into the books. It's not a question of, I don't help people write better books. If there are lots of people that help with that, not my ministry. A lot of the books that make it to the market, as in the indie space, have a lot of passion in them.
Mm-hmm.
If they were connected with the right readers, they would sell. Maybe they're not going to be a New York Times bestseller, but how do you just get it in front of, how do you just reach those new readers?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to be a ChatGPT expert. Like I was saying in the beginning, I can geek out about this stuff all day, but you don't need to. You really don't need to. What if there was a way for you to just focus on only the things that you actually, okay, I found my tab. What if you could only focus on the things that you actually need to move the needle in your book sale? So if we want to go back to that bottomless book sales methodology that we started off with, again, what you need, bare bones to sell any book, a landing page, and that is, again, to convert the traffic that you send there. It only has one job, it's to sell your book. That's actually a lie. It's to sell your book, but it also is to collect email addresses. And also, when you get a little bit more advanced, to season, we call it seasoning your pixel. So if you have a Facebook pixel or a TikTok pixel and you install that on your landing page, that is how, let's say you're spending $5 a day, $10 a day on an ad campaign, and let's say you're running a really good campaign, every 50 cents you spend, you get a new email subscriber. Mm-hmm. Facebook is going to use the information that it has about each of the people signing up on your site to refine your audience, Facebook or TikTok, right? So both of these have pixels that you can use, but you use that information from people taking those deeper actions on your website to optimize who Facebook shows or who TikTok shows your ads to in the future. So your landing page really has three purposes, but first and foremost, bare bones, its job is to sell your book. So when we look at the tools that we've created for Book Blaster, it's very specifically built around that bottomless book sales methodology. So number one, we have our launch plan generator. And here you can set your budget, your launch date, and any other specific goals that you have to create a customized launch plan for your book. So this takes about 4 to 5 minutes to generate completely. So I will show you a finished version of what that looks like. So you might hire a marketing agency to set your specific your objectives, or if it's a good agency, this is kind of that starting point that you would have. And so from here, you can use this plan to execute with our other tools. So for example, the next step would be a landing page. If you don't have a landing page, with some tools, you can drag and drop, and it's pretty easy if you have some design skills. We're going for no design skills. If you can press this button, you can have your landing page generated. So again, it takes a couple of minutes. So I'll show you a few that we generated, just like we show in advance. But our AI generates your color scheme using the colors from your book. It also generates your copy so that you can have a very strong starting point. Now, you might have a few details that you want to go in and edit. No problem. You just scroll here to the bottom in the editing section so that you can edit anything that appears on your landing page, including the colors, quotes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And again, this is also, we just added integration with Pabbly and MailerLite. So you can use your API key from either Pabbly or MailerLite to grow your email list on any of the platforms that you like. So let's say you're using MailChimp, you could use Pabbly and build an integration there. If you're using MailerLite, you can integrate directly. So super easy to build your email list using our Book Blaster landing pages. And they're also live working pages. Everything works. The links lead people to your actual book on Amazon, or you can also now have a book link to sell on your own personal website as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love MailerLite, so I'm glad that it has that integration worked in, because I would say, like, for authors who are just starting off with building an email list, like MailerLite is like probably my go-to recommendation for authors who are at that starting point. So definitely cool that it's got all of the integration capabilities.
Definitely. We both agree on MailerLite. It's free up to 1,000 subscribers. And you can also do some basic automations and stuff on the free plan. So for like you said, authors who are just getting started, it is the best and most robust platform. That's why we started off with that integration.
Yeah.
If you look really quickly here, we also have a blog post that we've generated. And just take a small step back. This is all for the book, The Fourth Grade Freedom Fighters by Dr. Geraldine Calhoun. So I encourage everyone to go check that out. But the blog post here is just a example of a kind of like a press release style blog post, but we also do have press releases that you can generate as well. Let's see if I have one done for you. Yep, I do. So you can have your press releases generated, your Facebook ads, emails, everything done in just a couple of clicks and a couple of minutes. And one of the other best parts is that it's always stored within the context of your book. So let's say you have 2 books here, but let's say you have 10 books or multiple authors on your imprint. You can work with multiple different books and always use that as the source of truth for your marketing materials.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so cool what you've been able to build with Book Blaster. And I'll say too, just because I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning, I'm working with Cameron as an advisor for Book Blaster because I love it so much. So I speak very fondly of it because I'm a big believer in the platform. So I guess that's just a little caveat there. But
to that point, let me say real quick, part of the reason, so I've been following Aaron on social media, on LinkedIn specifically for a little over a year now. And I was just like, Aaron's always on point. Like and what we're committed to building is end-to-end seamless marketing solutions for every author. Not every author can hire you, not every author can work with you. However, and if we can get people as smart as you to the table to help us build what we're building, that's why it was so important for us to reach out to you, and we are so grateful that you are advising us. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where in tools where, like, when I'm talking with with my clients, but also even authors in general, like as I'm trying to do get different data and just do research about the publishing industry. Again, one of the first few things that I hear from authors in terms of their pain points is, I don't have the time. I don't know how to do this, I'm an author. I don't know how to write for marketing, or, I'm not creative with social media. So I don't have the time. I don't know how to do it. I don't feel confident to do it. And so that's why having a platform like Book Blaster available for authors is huge because it eliminates a ton of the time. Like you said, it's a few clicks and a few minutes, and you've got a ton of content to start, start going through and using. But then too, it eliminates a lot of the I don't know how to do it because, like you said, you don't have to know how to drag and drop a landing page because it builds it for you. You don't have to know how to write Facebook ad copy because it'll do it for you. So it really takes it takes a lot of those pain points and like it meets authors at that place. So that's what I've like loved so much about it, and why, it's like I want more authors to be comfortable with the concept of AI, because in a program and platform like Book Blaster, it can be a huge help for them to get their message out to more people.
Absolutely. Most even most publishers, we're blessed to be working with some people from the big five at this point. But what we've learned from them is it's not too much different than the situations that indie authors face. They don't have a ton of money to market. And you might think, Penguin or Simon Schuster, they have billions of dollars. And it's like, well, they do kind of, but it's all earmarked for things that are not marketing each individual author, and they have huge imprint. So how do you make sure that it's one thing to put a huge campaign behind a Kevin Hart book or a Michelle Obama book where that this is going to carry your entire imprint, but for the average new author, you're not going to get that much support even from a traditional publisher. So what are the avenues that are out there to get again, most books are not bad, but most books have bad marketing behind them. And if there was a simple way, relatively inexpensive way to get that book in front of the right people, I firmly believe that the world is a better place when the right book finds the right reader. I used to drive for Lyft and Uber, and I would always listen to books about entrepreneurship and building your own business. And sometimes, a lot of times, people would be getting out of the car and they're like, "Oh, what was that you're listening to? I want to finish that, whatever else." But that those books are the reason that I'm sitting here today. So I'm very passionate about connecting the passionate authors that have been taking the time and energy and money to create these books with readers who would purchase and would be fans, making that happen with good, simple, effective marketing. And that should be something that's available to all authors, not just the ones that might already have some celebrity behind their name, or who have a huge budget to be able to do that. So that's what we believe.
Yeah, no, I love it, and that's why I'm signing up as a #1 supporter.
Thank you so much, Erin. Do we have a link? Because I want to share a discount with your audience, if that's okay for Book Blaster.
Yeah, would love that. So we'll so for anyone who's watching this back on YouTube, the link will be in the description here. So we'll put in that link, and then if you want to give information about the discount code right now, you can, and then I'll put that in the description as well.
We'll get it to you to make sure I don't butcher it right now and have some angry people hitting you up, but I will make sure that you have that information, and we'll put it in the link below.
Awesome. Well, I truly think this was so informative me too, even though I'm already swimming in this ocean, but to have it reiterated is it's just still kind of mind-blowing to me that there's all of these resources now available at an author's fingertips that can be just so useful in helping them push forward throughout the marketing process. So I'm super grateful that you shared your wisdom and knowledge about AI, and particularly shared more about Book Blaster, because I think it can really be a good tool for authors. So thank you so much, Cameron, for your time. I know you've got a lot going on building up the platform. So I'm really glad that you spent some time with me today.
Erin, it's a pleasure. Let me know when you can come back.
All right. All right. Thanks, Cameron. And everyone, check out the description here for a link for Book Blaster, as well as a discount, because it will be revolutionary for you. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Cameron.